death of Spider-Man. This story is set on Earth 1610, where Peter Parker and MJ are in a cafe where they're having a conversation on how J. Jonah Jameson knows Peter's identity, but Peter say that he trusts him and Peter is working for him as well. That's when Peter gets a phone call. He picks it up. It was Captain America who was standing right outside the cafe, and he asks Peter to wear his uniform and meet him in 15 minutes. On the other side, Green Goblin, Electro, Dr. Octopus, Kraven, and Sandman break through the prison. They fly through a helicopter and get into the city. Captain, on the other hand, is scolding Peter for being too reckless. Cap feels that Peter, as a teenager, shouldn't be throwing himself into deadly battles without proper training or support. That's when Captain gets the news of villains breaking the prison and creating chaos in the city, so he rides his bike and goes to the scene to provide rescue, but Peter doesn't listen to anything of what Captain said, and Peter follows him. When Peter finds out that who are the criminals, and he goes straight to Aunt May and Gwen and asks them to leave the place immediately, because he knows that they will come looking for Peter and they'll try to harm every important person related to him. He asks, "Where's Johnny and Bobby?" but they were not there at the time. Then we see that Dr. Octopus is having a disagreement with Norman Osborn on killing Peter. He says he doesn't want to kill Peter, but Osborn gets angry on him, and then they both fight, but Green Goblin is insanely powerful. He overpowers Dr. Octopus and kills him brutally, and this all was on live television. Then Peter gets a phone call from MJ, who is watching everything live, and tells Peter everything. Peter reaches the scene and he is in shock. Peter then goes to the destruction site and sees that the Punisher is going to snipe Captain. He tries to save Captain America, and in doing so he gets shot, but he survives, and he blames the radioactive spider that bit him. He blames the spider for ruining his life. He decides not to go to the hospital because it will reveal his identity, so he stops his bleeding with webs. Then we see Johnny and Bobby coming back home, but no one is there. They see the villains standing outside the house. Johnny and Bobby try to fight them, but they are defeated by Sandman and Green Goblin. In the next panel, we see Peter arriving at the scene, and right off the bat, Peter defeats Vulture. Peter then fights with Kraven, Sandman, and Electro. Spider-Man is without mask, so now his neighbors know that Peter is Spider-Man. Peter tries to protect them while fighting with the villains, and then Green Goblin throws the pumpkin bomb at Spider-Man. He gets hit with the impact of explosion. One of the neighbors calls Aunt May and tells her the whole story. Aunt May decides to go back. Peter, on the other hand, is getting absolutely cooked, but then Aunt May arrives at the scene and shoots Electro 3 times, and she catches him by surprise. Then Peter saves Aunt May and Gwen and fights with Green Goblin. He wakes up Johnny Storm and asks him for help because Peter is not in a good shape right now. Johnny Storm then attacks Green Goblin with fire, but he absorbs the fire and strikes him back. Green Goblin then approaches injured Peter Parker. That's when MJ comes with a truck and hits Green Goblin, but Green Goblin still gets up. Then Peter lifts up the truck and throws it right on the Goblin's head, but the truck blasts and the explosion hits Peter. And then, after all of this, from getting sniped to explosions, Peter Parker dies. And that's the end of the Ultimate Spider-Man. But then we see the aftermath of Spider-Man's death. In the comic Ultimate Fallout, we see Gwen in disbelief, crying and calling herself cursed. We see J. Jonah Jameson in depression. Johnny is in rage. Flash didn't know that Peter was Spider-Man, and Hayes sad about his death. MJ is blaming Nick Fury. She thinks that Peter's death is all his fault. Tony Stark consoles Aunt May and tells her not to worry about the tab for the funeral. At the funeral, Captain America goes to Aunt May and takes the blame for Peter's death. Aunt May slaps him and blames all the heroes, saying it's their fault. Thor, on the other hand, is sitting there and smiling because he knows that Peter was a warrior, he was a hero, and Hayes in a better place with other heroes. He is in Valhalla. The criminals are free on the streets now, but we see a guy in the Spider-Man costume fighting them. People are confused, wondering how Spider-Man is alive, but he is not Peter Parker. He is Miles Morales. Well, this is it for this video. If you want more, then like this video and subscribe. Very soon, I am going to start a series where I cover each issue of Avengers Secret Wars. So if you want to be a part of it, make sure to subscribe, watch my previous videos, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.